4:02. Let's go ahead and get started. I am super excited to have everyone here. As you may know, my name is Arthur Kolker, and I am the founder and CEO of StayFi. And I have with me Ryan Austin, and you can go ahead and introduce yourself, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm co-founder of Switchback. Switchback's an email marketing agency, and excited to be here with Arthur and talk about email.
Yeah, so just a little background on StayFi before we jump in. StayFi's mission is to empower short-term rental operators with the technology to achieve a vibrant, independent, and more profitable brand. And what that means in practice is we help short-term rental operators of all size, whether they have one property or 1,000 properties, collect, monetize guest data, and decrease their usage of Airbnb, Vrbo, and other channels. So at the end of the day, we're really here to help you drive more direct bookings and gain more power over the future of your business, which, as you know, is more important than ever, and reduce your dependence on those costly channels. And email marketing is definitely core to that strategy, and that's what we're going to dive into today. And Ryan can just give you a brief overview of Switchback.
Yeah, Switchback was founded about 2 years ago. Kelly and myself came together to provide the vacation rental, short-term, and holiday rental industry with dedicated email experience and an agency that could solely focus on email marketing. 20 plus years together, and all we do, think, love, breathe is email marketing. I've been a proud partner of Arthur since we started, and StayFi, and really helped a lot of the StayFi clients grow and enhance their email marketing over the years, and excited to kind of be here and talk about email marketing.
Yeah, and I think email marketing sometimes gets a bad rap, or people think, I don't buy things through email newsletters. Why would my guess? All the data and evidence points to the contrary. Email marketing consistently rates as one of the highest ROI, most impactful marketing channels. And when it comes to growing an independent brand, is one of the key pillars, besides maybe a website, that will really drive difference for your business when it comes to getting guests to come back and book directly with you for the first time or maybe the second time. And that's really what we're going to dive into today. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of email marketing and how to get started and how you should approach it, just a little data that I saw recently on a key data webinar about the state of the United States short-term rental market, because there's been a lot of panic or misleading tweets lately about an Airbnb collapse. And the data shows us that there is no giant collapse in short-term rental demand or occupancy. And in fact, demand, occupancy, and rates are higher than they were in 2019 and 2020. They're just not where they were in 2021 and 2022. And I don't think that should really come as a surprise to anyone. And what that means is you may see slight softening through Airbnb and Vrbo. That traditional spigot of demand might start to tamp down a little bit. And that's why email marketing is a key tactic to consider at this juncture, because it's going to provide another channel to drive guests to your direct booking site and to book with you, and make sure that you're doing things above and beyond what just the OTAs can do. So I think in a softening demand environment, email marketing is going to become an even more important channel to invest in, because it's going to give you one more place to really play with those demand levers outside of just changing your rates or descriptions on the OTAs. So today we have a lot of material to cover. So I'm hoping we can squeeze this all into an hour. But as just a brief outline, why email marketing, what it can do for you, how to get started. So how are you going to select and set up an email marketing tool? Then we're going to talk about StayFi's email marketing tool and how it maybe compares to other tools out in the marketplace, which are also fantastic. Things like MailChimp or Constant Contact you may be familiar with. Then we're going to touch upon how to grow your email marketing list. That's the first place most people are going to start, because you need people to email to before you can get started. Then we're going to really go into the different types of email marketing campaigns, whether it's automations, one-off newsletters, and the types of content to put in those emails, because that's a question we get a lot. What am I going to email every month? Like, what matters? What are guests care about? What are they going to click on and be interested in? Then we're going to go into some real detail of how to actually set up marketing automation in an email marketing tool, talk about one of our mutual customers and the success that they've had, and show real life examples of what these emails look like. And then a little bit more about content creation, and then finally some additional strategies to consider. So there's just a ton of information we're going to get through. So definitely, and then at the end, hopefully we'll have time for some questions, but TBD if we're going to make it at the end of an hour with some extra time. So why email marketing and why now? I mean, obviously, the number one thing we get asked is, how can I use email marketing to generate more bookings and increase my revenue? I think something to think about is email is not a short-term fix. I think a lot of people come, and we've heard it, both me and Ryan, of somebody's been collecting emails for 2 years, sees a softening of demand and is like, I need to send an email tomorrow that's going to drive bookings. That's probably not a realistic approach, right? Email marketing is about building a relationship between your brand and the guests. And whether that brand is you personally or you, a company of 200 listings, doesn't really matter. But building that relationship over time is what's going to educate the guest about why they should come back and book with you directly for the first time or again. So seeing that name in the inbox every week or every month is what's going to build that brand awareness, so that when they do want to make a booking, they remember not just to check on Airbnb, but to also check on your website, or maybe just email you directly. Another great usage of both email and text marketing is about filling last minute cancellations. We see this a ton with especially smaller property managers or maybe owners, where someone cancels this weekend's booking and you want to try to find someone local or someone who's maybe looking for an escape to book that stay. Text and email marketing is a great way to send that information out and get a response right away. In terms of return on investment, email rates the highest in terms of what you actually invest, because outside of paying a tool some nominal amount every month, email marketing is pretty inexpensive or even free at some level when your lists are small enough, other than just the time and commitment it takes to create those emails and whether you want to pay someone like Ryan to do them for you. And then finally, there's also some uses of emails outside of guest marketing, and one of them is owner engagement and retention. And we see a lot of property managers have success doing a separate newsletter to their owners, or maybe using their current existing newsletter to recruit owners because they're also operating a real estate business or something like that, right? So you can think of your audience multi-dimensionally. It's not just guests they're looking to book. These may be prospects for other sides of your business. Ryan, anything else that you want to cover here that I didn't touch upon?
No, you hit it all there. I did the ROI outside of e-commerce was really focusing on what it can do outside of generating transactions and revenue. So there is a huge part of ROI within email marketing as well. But yeah, you touched on it all there, Arthur.
Yeah, so I mean, things where people use email marketing to generate outside of just bookings, maybe you have upsells during the stay and you want to educate folks during the stay, or maybe you're trying to support or promote other businesses that you own or operate, right? So there's other ways that emails can support other objectives for your business, depending on where exactly you're placed in the market. Selecting an email tool. Ryan, do you want to cover this one? Because I know you advise a lot of people on this topic.
Yeah, so StayFi and Switchback is powered by an email marketing tool called Campaign Monitor. There's a lot out there, so don't feel that that's the one you need to choose or go with that. As you do your homework and as you choose what to go with, reputation is usually at the top for us. You're going to look at deliverability. How can you tie DNS settings in and really kind of focus on getting to the inbox? The cost of it, there's a lot of cheap ones out there, but you got to kind of oversee your whole marketing budget and where it ends in there. And then feature sets. So the one we utilize, Campaign Monitor, is an email marketing software, and that's it. So it's not a CRM. It's not like a HubSpot or Salesforce. So it's go in and know your goals with the software you're looking for. You can certainly do it yourself on all of these, but there are agencies out there to help you with that. It's another thing to look at as you do your research on what software to go with. And then the big one here for us, and you'll learn more here in the next couple slides here, integrations. Zapier is a great tool to use, but if you have integrations already built, like StayFi or your PMS or your website, make sure that what you're choosing will integrate. And then we're going to go into it. Automation is such a powerful tool that if you can integrate everything, make sure you're doing the automation. As you choose this, the accountability within your team, whether it's just you or another agency you're working with or a marketing team, make sure someone's accountable about choosing it. Allocate, your time and management to setting it up. And then really the goals is where we're going to focus on how to set everything up. So when we set up a new client, we go on current goals, future goals, and then focus on that as we build. The performance and tracking also goes back to the integration. So make sure you're setting up like Google Analytics. The email software you have definitely has certain ways to track and measure what you're doing based on your goals. It's something you want to commit to. You don't want to swap email marketing software. And again, about 11 years on Campaign Monitor, so something I trust fully and has a lot of the features we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, I'd say like two common things I see with StayFi customers is they pick a tool and they utilize a very small amount of it or not really use it at all. So we see a lot of clients select MailChimp and they probably use 5% of the functionality within MailChimp, maybe just sending a periodic newsletter, not setting up an automation, not using segmentation. And so as a result, they're paying for a lot of things they're not using. So it's really important to consider, if you're going to pay money for a tool, make sure you understand what it has to offer and that you take advantage of as much as you can. The second thing I've seen a lot of people fall through with is picking a tool that's too complex for their current needs. So I've seen people pick tools like HubSpot and Salesforce, which are incredibly powerful, but they're much more complicated to set up and use effectively. So just be mindful of how much time you can realistically allocate to email marketing, and make sure you pick a tool that aligns with that and you don't end up picking something that will be frustrating or too difficult to use, like a Salesforce or HubSpot, which you really need to put more consideration into and how you're going to set up and use a tool like that. Like Ryan mentioned, within StayFi, we have an email marketing tool, and what's great about that is it's designed for short-term rental operators. And it's built on top of Campaign Monitor, which is one of the leaders in email deliverability. So that's kind of an assessment that we've done on our end to look at all the major tools in the marketplace and see which ones are the best at delivering emails to contacts and not getting blocked by spam traps and engines and different kind of filters that people have set up. And that's why we went with Campaign Monitor. And it also has unlimited sending, which is an important thing to consider. Some tools will charge for a subscription and then they charge you if you send over a certain amount of emails. And it just makes the cost and complexity very high because it's hard to predict how many emails you're going to be sending in the future. And finally, and most importantly, we take the headache of getting data out of your PMS and into the email marketing tool. So with StayFi, we collect emails through the Wi-Fi, but we also help you market to the emails you're already collecting. And these on the screen here, you can see the different PMS options that we integrate with today. And so what we do is when we integrate with your PMS, we will look through all your past reservations as well as any ones that are made in the future. We'll see if there's any real emails associated with those. We screen those emails to make sure they're valid and can be sent to, and then we pull them into a list in the email marketing tool, which I'll show you. And we have a bunch more integrations coming soon. And that's just a great way to get started with the data you already have and not have to worry about downloading lists from the PMS, trying to filter out fake like Airbnb or Vrbo emails and then uploading ones and getting high bounce rates and things like that. So we kind of take all that pain of integration off your plate and do it for you when it comes to getting data out of your PMS and into the email marketing tool. Now, switching gears, kind of what are the ways to grow your email list? Number one, leverage the data you already have, and that would be that PMS guest data. Different PMS systems have different ways in which they try to grab the real emails of guests that book through Airbnb and Vrbo. And that's definitely a feature that I would look into, whether your PMS offers that. Some do, like OwnerRes and Hostfully. I'm very aware of their ability to do that, hospitable as well. I'm not familiar with the exact capabilities of every PMS, but I know a lot of them, when you have a booking through Airbnb or Vrbo, has a process where they ask the guest for a real email to supplement the data you're collecting on them. And then if you do collect that real email from an Airbnb or Vrbo booking, we will pull it into StayFi's email marketing tool automatically. Obviously, if you want to use a different email marketing tool, that's fantastic. And you can take data out of your PMS and upload it periodically to a MailChimp or a Constant Contact, or maybe your PMS has an integration where you can do that as well. And they may use a tool like Zapier where you can also set that up. So definitely start with the data you're already collecting. StayFi as a tool, we are going to help you grow your list much faster than just relying on PMS data. So StayFi offers a captive portal where every guest in a rental property has to log into the Wi-Fi and provide their email to get on the internet. And that way we're collecting not just the booker's information, but everybody in the short-term rental property. And on the right here, you can see what those branded captive portals look like. So obviously this would be in your brand, and you would collect the name, email, and phone number from 10 guests in a rental property, not just maybe one, the booker. The website is another great place to collect emails. So if you have a direct booking website, which we recommend everybody have, and hopefully you can easily just spin one up from your PMS, you can place forms or pop-ups on your website to collect emails as well. And that means if you're spending any money to drive traffic to your website, you want to make the most of spending those dollars by also collecting an email from the individuals on your website. And you can set up ways to, do like a gift get, where if someone submits their email, you send them a code or a guidebook or something about your area when it comes to like why they want to visit. StayFi's email tool, of course, has a widget that allows you to collect emails on your website, whether it's in a form or a pop-up. But so do all the other tools like MailChimp. They just have some code that you embed into the header of your website, and it will, for instance, make a pop-up appear on your website to collect an email, or you can integrate it into like a little form on your website for people to submit their information. And so you want to try to collect as many emails from website visitors as possible. And then finally, I've heard about some really interesting partnerships where you work with local businesses to share emails. So for instance, maybe there's a local activity, and when they get a booking, they kind of share emails with you, and you market to those folks about your listings and availability, and maybe then you promote their activity back to people that book with you. We've also seen other people who have like local chambers of commerce where people say they're interested in traveling, or they have like local business conventions, or just other ways to basically access travelers are coming to your market, or ways to gather more emails and start marketing to those folks. So definitely tap into your local community if that's something you feel comfortable doing. Now I'm going to switch over to Ryan, who's just going to cover at a high level different types of email campaigns and kind of why and how you should send those.
Sure, yeah. So once you collect all your data, the biggest thing is to use it. The more data you got, the more email marketing strategy you can put in place. We kind of divide it into strategies with types of campaigns: marketing automation or customer journeys. We're going to be looking at that. Arthur will actually give a little demo of how to set that up. And then we kind of just break it into another category, just one-time campaigns. These are the marketing side of email marketing. There's certainly a transactional side that will be sent through like PMSs and whatnot. But for marketing, we do look at it as driving revenue and engage with your audience, but on a personal level with the automation, and use that data and let the automation kind of do a lot of the work for you. And then one-time campaigns, we'll see it on the next slide. We break them down into multiple different types of one-time. So when we're talking about automation, we also break these down. We're looking at a handful of ideas here of different types of automated emails or customer journeys. First one with StayFi, that make sure you're doing a guest Wi-Fi welcome series. That could just be a single email as providing your brand and improve the overall guest experience that you offer through an OTA that's not through an OTA. There's a lot you could do with the guest Wi-Fi welcome series based on all the data you're collecting from your Wi-Fi. The next one is automation, is just a newsletter sign up. You'll actually see some of the higher open rates and click-through on automated emails, but definitely on a newsletter sign up. They're so timely. They're based on actions usually or engagement. So just really basic one, but if you have a sign up, make sure you're sending a welcome email. It
And
also gets,
can I just add one thing, Ryan? I've signed up for so many vacation rental companies' newsletters, and 99% of the time when I sign up on their website, I don't get an email. So we know most people do not do this today. So definitely check if you have a sign up form on your website that you implement this.
yeah, it's important because it's the first email they're going to get. And then the message in there is also really important. It kind of sets the stage of what they're going to be getting. Ask them to add your email address to their address book. There's a lot of benefits of this first time email. One thing of caution, if you're using MailChimp, I do see your list name on the I am not a robot. So make sure your list name is appropriate once you're doing the sign in as there. We do a single sign-in. It's not a double opt-in, so there's a lot of benefit to that as well. The booking anniversary and really just kind of your guest automation, even from booking to a post-departure. These are also very timely. We usually trigger the booking anniversary off of a booking date. I've had clients do it off of arrival date as well, so more of a vacation anniversary, but it's still the message, and let automation do some of the marketing there as well. Post-departure, we actually see a huge benefit there. And again, these are just ideas from the data you're collecting from PMS or Wi-Fi, because you can do a post-departure from your Wi-Fi sign-in date, and you can also do it from your PMS reservation data. It's really just thanking them, reminding them to book direct, and getting them back to your brand. They're also really great for encouraging feedback or online reviews. And then depending on the survey or tool you're using, you can do some pretty cool dynamic type surveys promoting positive reviews. Booking abandonment campaigns, those are a little bit more technical. They tend to take a website developer and or a software to be implemented, but they are, for the years of doing email marketing, they are the highest converting emails out there. If you have the opportunity to do a booking abandonment, highly suggest it. There should be a single call to action in this email. When we set it up for other clients, we'll use that data that they abandoned with and put them right back either on the book now page or the rental page they were on. If you can pull off booking abandonment, again, we highly recommend it. Re-engagement campaign, keep your list clean. It can be set up in automation. There's easy ways to isolate unengaged subscribers with segmentation, and you can just set up automation based on their unengagement, basically. After a certain time, we start to remove unengaged, again, just trying to keep a cleaner list, higher open rates, higher deliverability. So again, these are just examples of different automations, but the easy ones to start with, and really for us, the highest converting ones that we put together for this webinar. Now we're going to go into one-time campaigns, and we break these down to 4 main focuses. So the first one is your standard promotional campaign. These are literally almost what we would call a postcard. So they're a single kind of call to action with maybe secondary of featured properties or something, but it is a clear call to action promotional postcard, if you would, campaign. From there, we really promote a themed newsletter. And the biggest thing here is to be consistent. Whether you're 2 properties and doing seasonality, which we'll talk about, or you're doing 1 a month or 1 a week, be consistent. Find that day that works for you, mid-morning, midweek. We've been trying weekend mornings a lot. There's a lot in your reporting within the StayFi email to find when people engage. A lot of data in the Google Analytics you can find when they engage. Our biggest thing here is give it a theme, whether it's the theme of that email itself, or you'll see with our client spotlight, actually give your campaign or your newsletter a name. It drives, the consistency will drive kind of the habit of checking for your email, knowing it's coming, the anticipation of it, and then that'll drive higher opens and clicks. But then as you take on new properties, we have seen these be really successful over the last 5 years with announcing new properties. We've seen with a consistent subject line, they're going to know it's a new property. Everybody likes to see something new. So when you get one, send one. These can also have strategy of maybe this is your second email of the month, and you're featuring all the properties in there. They're great for guests, obviously, but also really great for owners and can drive some of the highest engagement we've seen. The other two, if you are not sending monthly or consistently, think more seasonal focused campaigns, or really what I'll start to tell StayFi clients is think about your open availability. So if you have open availability, that's what your campaign is focused on. It doesn't have to be a season. Really kind of push the gaps you have. And that's where email, by hitting your wide audience with an email, can actually fill those gaps. So there's a lot here on one-time campaigns. No right fit for everybody, but really kind of starting with the software and your goals, think about what you're going to be doing, who's accountable for building them, and then we'll even have clients do marketing calendars where it keeps us on track as well. So this one is kind of going back to that slide of, we just wanted to give a visual of kind of pulling all the last slides together of where you capture them, where does automation come in, where does your newsletter come in. So to give that visual of web form, PMS, and StayFi, and then how does that all connect? So with automation, web, you got to send your welcome emails. Even on like a WordPress website and Gravity Forms, you can still connect that back to the StayFi email marketing and send a confirmation email. So you can actually, with GDPR, you can confirm an action with a thank you for contacting us, and then you can add a checkbox. So if they subscribe, great, they go to your list. If not, they still get your branded thank you for contacting us email. So web forms and welcome email can even be just a confirmation email. And we see those convert quite a bit because they're timely and they're going out. Now with the collection point of PMS and what StayFi has built to pull your reservation data in real time, and once you turn that on, you'll see that it's not only capturing next booking date, but last booking date. You can start to send all kinds of automation. We're really going to recommend most of that sensitive automation should be going through your PMS, but then you can start to pull that data into your email marketing and use it for like post-departure or even a pre-arrival. Or segmentations or even exclusions. So if you're sending out a special, that integration with the PMS and that data becomes really powerful. And that's where the automation comes in. Of course, we touched on it with the StayFi integration, Wi-Fi welcome, and the importance there. And then all of that data, all of that automation then bleeds into your monthly, weekly, quarterly, seasonally, monthly newsletter type idea there into the one-time campaigns. So we wanted to shift gears and pick a client that's been working with us for just over a year, and the growth that they've seen and the power of email, but really just kind of give you a visual kind of client spotlight of what they've done with kind of what we were talking about there with the email collection, the automation, and the one-time campaigns. Juniper is on a WordPress website powered by Track. They're mainly out of Michigan, but they're growing outside. They came to StayFi and Switchback to really help take their email marketing, not just to a brand level, which you'll see, but also to a strategy level with automation, thoughtfulness within campaigns, and then helping with all the integrations from booking abandonment to the Wi-Fi to their website. The first one we kind of came into is their website. It's one of our goals to get connected everywhere. This is an example of one form. You can see there at the bottom of the form, there is that checkbox. If they check it, they go to the list. If they don't go to the list. But regardless, they get this email. The email is kind of cut in half here, and you'll see that on the other ones. But it gives value that of who they are, really branded, gives a way back to contact them as they wait for a response. But more importantly, it's giving the confirmation. I always kind of call these emails almost like a business card in an inbox. If you're filling out 5 different forms, you're the one that sends a nice professional looking email that then gets them back to their website. And within Google Analytics, these do drive sometimes even more revenue than promotional emails because they're going out all the time at real time, and they're really engaged with the person that's already engaged. So again, contact form confirmation emails is one of the first things we set up with Juniper just to start that brand awareness.
And one thing I just love about this one is because someone's filling in the contact form, we don't really know if they're a guest or a potential owner or both. And I love that this email talks about exploring the locations and the rentals, but then also really deep dives into the management program at the bottom. And so that you can see here, it's catering to that dual audience of both owners and guests. And so make sure you uh, keep in mind kind of who you're talking to, because you may want to include both messages or focus on one or the other.
We've been cross-marketing quite a bit with clients that utilize different tools. Ventori is a great one. If you have a Ventori or an owner acquisition page, even in your monthly newsletter, we're finding engagement. We tend to put it towards the bottom, if not at the bottom of those emails, but no reason not to cross-market all your guests who could be investing and looking for their next property management company. So, yep, we found that to be with Juniper quite a bit here. This next one, you're going to get a quick demo from Arthur of how this sets up. The two screenshots on the right is actually the email software. And what you're seeing here is you can, once they join your Wi-Fi, you can send the welcome email, and then you're seeing 8 days later, 5 days later, sorry, you can send a book again. And that's the one I was talking about with the post-departure and driving it off of guest sign-in date. And then if you can see a conditional logic there. So if they open it or don't open it, you can set it again with another delay. And you'll get some of this on the demo that Arthur is going to be doing. But again, the second kind of thing we came in is automated their Wi-Fi. Where they took it, which was really cool, is we then moved it from, a handful of properties. Their growth supported so many different properties that we shifted it to a single automation. So you can use the automated tool for your Wi-Fi to do it targeted to a single property. You can also use it with the data coming from StayFi and dynamically show the right guidebook URL, the right website URL, the right property name. You can go as far as an if statement and show the right image. Some of these features are a little advanced, but they're pretty easy to set up. And once you set it up, it's all data driven. So what that also allows Juniper or clients that are onboarding more properties is not to have to go build another automation for it. It's all dynamically built within a single email. So all your data flows in and shows the right kind of data point within a single StayFi Wi-Fi automated email. Now, this also driving the fact of why you send a StayFi Wi-Fi email is to drive that branded experience. You see that right away in this email. The other is how to contact you during your stay. And then if you're using some kind of guidebook, like Touch Day, one we really like is Rubaru. So it's like, make sure you're putting your guidebook URL in here. And again, with the StayFi data, you can have that dynamically put in here. But that was another automation we put in place.
And I'll just say, from an open rate standpoint, these have insanely high open rates, because you log into the Wi-Fi and then you immediately receive this branded email. And I've seen clients with above 60 or 70% open rates. So, the way to tie an email to like a timely behavior is always going to drive higher open rates than the kind of traditional newsletters. So you'll see huge success in achieving brand awareness through this email when someone logs into the Wi-Fi.
I also say it's the guest experience in these Wi-Fi emails too. They're huge to be able to promote your local area. You're the local expert, and again, your guidebook. So if you do have like Rubaru, and I even tell our clients to put like the content in your guidebook, some of it in your email as well. Watch your engagement in your reporting as well. Are they clicking on your links or your guidebook call to action more? And then start to adjust your email over time. And that's where reporting becomes pretty important. This next one goes into the one-time campaigns. I wanted to give an example of what we really promote our clients to do. And again, if you're doing seasonal or just on availability, you can still play out this concept of a themed newsletter. So some switchback team members, we will actually give the entire email a theme, or what we try to push here with Juniper is like calling it the Juniper Journal, giving their actual newsletter something to relate to when you hit that subject line, that inbox, and they know what type of email they're getting. And now if you're going to do a property alert, same thing. So, announcing new property, and that's your subject line over and over. So getting consistent with types of things will grab awareness once it hits the inbox as well. There is a great A/B split test tool within the email marketing software. Almost all have it, and you can test subject line or even design and see what drives more engagement. But what we're seeing here is a very heavy, what we call a newsletter. It has a lot of content in here. We try to start with value add in the beginning of our emails, why they're getting it, some things that they can do in the area, some ideas. We'll even drive, if you're running a discount, drive that up top, almost your first call to action. Secondary is usually rentals, and give it clear, like you're seeing here, all you need is property name, beds and baths, and a click now button. But really, these will be your highest engaged parts of your email or your newsletter are properties. Don't overdo it. The most we ever really do is 12. Even if you got one in there, that's great. People are, that's why they're after your email. Click on the emails that have the properties will have the most clicks. And then from there, we kind of put more things to do. And then even down there, we're calling out the owner acquisition again at the bottom of this email. Main reason we're featuring this, it's themed. It's obvious the brand, it's obvious that it's a newsletter, and it's clearly skimmable with a ton of content. Again, watch your reporting. If you're not getting clicks all the way at the bottom, if your activities aren't getting clicked at all, starting to shorten this. If your properties are highest click, maybe we feature those and move those up, but really watch the engagement on everything you're doing.
Yeah, one question I just wanted to address here while we're on this page is about availability emails. What do you typically advise for, I think for us, we see a lot of clients that have maybe 2 or 3 listings and they have very high occupancy rates. And so for them, sending out a monthly email may feel disappointing because people are going to click in and find that it's all booked. So it's like there's no point in promoting a property where there's no availability. So how do you typically advise clients around when to send an email about an opening that you're trying to fill for a property that hasn't been booked yet, and maybe it's a property that's typically always booked?
Yeah, great challenge to have if you have that
Yeah.
high. Where we'll go into it is use your PMS, or if you're using revenue management tool, and start to find those gaps in there and start to promote it that way. It's really on our booking abandonment emails, we state that at the time that this email was sent, this property was available. The scarcity does drive, is a marketing tactic, only, 1 week left in October, and that's what you feature on. Now, if they go in and they see it booked, at least we got them on the website. They might be searching other dates. We tend to even put, I don't like this term, but it's basically clickbait, but what looks like a search bar at the bottom of our email. If you have a specific home, you can even make it look like the dates are put in there, and you put it in there. You can drive your URL to the exact week that you're driving for that exact house. So it's not foolproof. It could get booked, but just state something that at the time this email was sent, you did have availability. So with a lot of the clients that we have like 2, 3, 10 homes with, think 2 to 3 months out. So it's not as likely as a last minute cancellation, but those are awesome emails to be driving to fill the gaps on the last minute cancellations as well.
And obviously, your market best. Is it a drive-to market where it's realistic for someone to just pack up for the weekend and go? Or is it a destination that people fly to where obviously typically more planning involved? So obviously keep in mind kind of your guest persona and what's makes sense given your typical booking window and behavior, right? So now I'm going to switch over and just show how easy it is to set up automation in our Wi-Fi marketing tool, because I get a lot of questions, or a lot of people are a little scared if they've never done this before. And I think it's good just to show that you don't need to be a rocket scientist to set up a basic email. But obviously Ryan's touching on a lot more advanced strategy, especially as you grow as a business. That's when you really want to engage with a professional to kind of take it to that next level. But when it comes to setting up the basics, really anyone can do it. So I'm going to jump into our email marketing tool within Stayfi. And we have a section here called automation. So that's pretty self-explanatory. And I'm going to create a new automation. And what I'm going to do with this automation is send an email to every guest that logs into the Wi-Fi in a property. And you could be setting up an automation for everyone that submits a form on your website, same concept. So it's a welcome journey that's pretty self-explanatory. Within Stayfi, we have different lists. So For instance, the data that we're grabbing from your property management software is going to be in this PMS list. And I don't want to set up an automation for that list because I'll be sending emails, whenever we get that data. So it could be a future booking or a past booking, right? It's not as clear as when we collected this. The Wi-Fi email or the Wi-Fi guest, I know that this person is in the property, typically the first day, and just logged into the Wi-Fi. I also have to assume this person doesn't know who I am, because it's probably not the booker. And even if it is the booker, maybe they still think you're Airbnb, right? So this is really our first opportunity to differentiate ourselves from the OTA or the other channel and start establishing our independent identity, which Ryan showed with those great emails. So once I do this, it's very visual. So it's going to say subscriber joins Wi-Fi guest. So that's a new login. Wait 5 minutes, and then it's going to trigger this welcome email. On the left here, you can see for this email, I can change the subject. I can even insert personalization into the subjects. It can be like first name, welcome, blah, blah, blah. I say who it's from, and I can change this from address. Often, for a smaller rental company, maybe you want to send it from your actual email, like arthur@seacoastvacationrentals.co, because I want to get the replies, right? So you can decide what inbox people can reply to. And sometimes having it as a person can kind of increase that just feeling of like this is a personal human experience and not like just an automated robot experience. Then I'm going to actually design this email. So I'm going to hit change template here. And within our tool, we have you can see all your recent templates. So if you have one that you like, you can use that as a starting point. Or I can go to all designs and I can see these are all the preloaded templates. So there's a ton of different designs that you can start with when it comes to building your email. This one I like for travel. It's pretty simple and has some good sections. So I'm going to say start using this design. Then you're going to get this visual builder. So we call this WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. So it's a really easy way to build a visually compelling email. So I'm going to add my logo up here. So I can add my logo very simply. I want to change this background, so I can just hit replace here, and then pick an image that I saved on my desktop. So I can set this up. So now I have this pretty background image, and I can say, welcome to Sea Coast Rentals. Enjoy your stay. And maybe I just want to put like visit our website here. So I can go ahead and change this button. And you can see this is their beautiful website. So I'm just grab the URL here and place it here. And then, and maybe I have some text introducing myself. So I'm just going to steal that from their website because they've already written it about themselves. So maybe you have some text you want to just put here to introduce yourself. And then you can, add, to contact us. You can reach us here, add your information. And then below here, it has these really easy to use widgets where I can maybe say, our local recommendations. And then I can write out my favorite things to do in this destination. And then maybe I have a place on our website where I have a list of things, right? Or maybe it's in my guidebook. So I can link that out here. And then maybe I want to add other sections about booking another property or benefits to direct booking. So you can see in, 10 minutes, I can put together this email. I'm not going to fill out all these sections. You can see how easy it is to change images, change text. And then when you do preview, you can see what your email looks like both on a computer and on a mobile device, which is super important because actually most people will see your email on a mobile device, not on desktop. So it's really important to check both. And then you'll see that the email is added to your flow. And then let's say you want to add a post-departure email. So you can just say, let's wait 10 days. And then I want to add another email, right? So in an hour or two, you could build 3 to 5 emails that get sent to every guest automatically. And that way, especially when you're starting out with email marketing, maybe you're not ready to commit to build a monthly newsletter. And maybe the list only has a few hundred people, so it may not be worthwhile yet. But setting up an automation, you can make sure you're emailing every single person. Because the most important thing that Ryan talked about earlier is if you don't start or you're not consistent, if you just collect emails for a year and then email them, a lot of them are going to forget who you are and why they subscribed, right? So it's really important that you continue building that brand awareness so that when you do start a newsletter or get around to hiring Ryan or another third party professional to help you, or you want to finally hire someone internally to do it, they still know who you are and they're going to want to engage with your content. So that's how easy it is to set up an automation. So you could really do this in an hour and anyone can build these emails, right? One other thing I'll show you is let's say I really don't like copywriting and I don't know what to send. I logged into my friendly chat GPT account and I just wrote and asked it, I'm a vacation rental manager in New Hampshire with Coastal Rentals, and I'm automating an email sent to all guests after they log into the Wi-Fi. What content should I include? It actually wrote me this beautiful email. And I noticed it had some weird information about the Wi-Fi I didn't love. So I asked it to remove the mention of Wi-Fi, shorten it, and encourage the guest to book directly because it didn't include that. And I really want to emphasize direct booking. It rewrote it, but for whatever reason, didn't include rebooking. So I asked it again. And I then wanted it to add the rebooking piece at the end. So I had this beautiful conversation with ChatGPT. And at the end, it wrote me this wonderful email. And maybe I want to just send this as a text email, right? So it actually wrote a great email that I could send to every guest after logging to the Wi-Fi as a simple text email. So, if you haven't used ChatGPT or one of these new AI content generation tools, I really recommend trying it and having this type of conversation. And I know, Ryan's team does that to even create emails faster, right? Because it can help you just quickly spin up content in your emails and you can kind of use ChatGPT to refine your content and check for errors and typos and all those things before you start sending emails through the email marketing tool. I hope that was helpful. And now we can jump back into the slideshow where we'll just cover a few more things and then we'll have a few more minutes for questions. So one thing I just want to talk about content. I think there's different types of content. Ryan covered a bunch of different categories. I think another angle to approach this from is your brand and your voice. What's appropriate given your size of operation? And our typical advice is the smaller you are, the more personal and human you should make it. If you own or operate, less than 10 properties, I would really lean into your story, who you are, why you love property management, why you love hospitality, and what makes you unique. And then when we get much larger, then we tend to lean into the brand and like the experience we're going to guarantee and the consistency across all these homes, right? And it becomes less of the personal story, although you may want to interweave that into. I also think when you have guests staying with you, if the guest knows you as the operator and has that personal rapport, or it appears like in an automated email, you're emailing them directly, right? It's going to build that relationship so that when they do want to return, they will remember you and remember the great time they had and will email you back or go to your website to rebook. So you don't need to use images in every email. You can do a mixture of text and emails with images. And if you're using text, you can use that first person voice to really infuse yourself into the brand. Second, we covered a lot of these. I would say, one thing to consider outside of email marketing is kind of what other tools are you using in your direct booking arsenal? And then top one is definitely website, right? Most people have a website through their property management software. I think something to consider if you want to take your strategy to the next level is working with a firm like Boostly, ICND, Realtech, and there's several others out there that make professional direct booking websites that really start looking at SEO and other ways to drive more traffic to your site and have a better booking and conversion experience. And you may find that you start driving a lot of traffic to your website, but maybe your website's not performing as well, or people kind of give up on the website and email you directly and just saying like, where should I book on these dates, right? Those are signs that maybe at a certain point, investment in the website makes a lot of sense as you build up driving more traffic to that site. Anything you want to add here, Ryan, before we jump to the last slides?
Do your homework based on your PMS of who you can integrate with, and then ask the questions of on website level, and then ask the questions of functionality of website. Every kind of website provider does things a little differently, from a booking abandonment to even the forms they use. Start with your PMS. If you're going to stick with it, find what web company really specializes in that PMS, and then get referrals. Ask other people. There are great websites out there. For example, like Blue Tent and BizCore and ICD and Realtek, they're all going to do something a little different based on the PMS. So just really think of that. And then with email marketing, as you talk about it, keep the forms and the automation in the back of your mind as you speak to these companies. One thing I did want to touch on the content side of thing, keep it short. Nobody reads emails except for like owner communication. Clear call to actions, skimmability. It's fun to put some punny type content in there, but make sure it's skimmable. People tend to skim and not read, but they will scroll and they will go down to it. But so ChatGPT's, we use it. It's a great tool to get ideas, but you also want to be careful that, like Arthur was saying, it's in your words, your brand. But yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think this ROI piece, Ryan did this another presentation and showed on Google Analytics the booking journey. It really showed that last click attribution is not sufficient. So when I say last click attribution, it's someone clicks the listing in the email and then books the rental property in that session, right? That's realistically not how most people's booking journeys occur. Often they go to the email, then maybe they search on Airbnb, then maybe they go back to your website directly and book. And what we see is that a click on an email takes place during that journey at the beginning, the middle, or the end. But it's not always the last click. So you kind of have to, really consider email also as that brand marketing, because they're seeing your brand every month. And then maybe when they do book, they go to your website directly or they Google your name, right? So it's not always going to show up as last click. It often is just one touch point in the journey of booking when they're considering other websites or other OTAs as well, right?
If you're looking for that report, it's called Top Conversion Path in your Google Analytics. And what I loved about the last webinar we did when I showed it is you got to have a full marketing strategy. So it's not just email or not just pay-per-click. And you'll see how social, pay-per-click, email, direct, Google search, all of it comes together to create the conversion path of one booking. Most of your website providers will give you transactions and revenue. If it's not turned on, you're not seeing revenue or e-commerce within your Google Analytics, just ask your website provider and they should be able to help with that.
Yeah, emphasize that again, like ask your PMS for e-commerce integration with Google Analytics. If they don't do it already, request it, because I think we would love to see more PMS websites out of the box support e-commerce integration, because most actually don't. Of course, if you go and pay for a more professional website from one of the firms that we talked about, they definitely will. I believe all of them do, but definitely PMS providers and their white labeled websites would be great if more had e-commerce tracking, because basically the e-commerce tracking reports back like the booked revenue. So it like takes to the next level of actually showing all the transactions, not just clicks, and views on your site. And then Ryan, one thing I'll just mention about our partnership, which is really awesome, is that within a StayFi account, in the email marketing section, you can actually purchase services from Ryan and Switchback. And what's awesome is 2 of those services are one-time services. So you may feel like you're in between, like I don't yet have the budget or the need for someone to manage my emails all the time, which is of course something that Ryan can also do for you, but maybe I just need help getting started. So I'll let Ryan kind of explain what those options are and what you get.
Yeah, as we were doing the partnership, we identified pretty much kind of 2 categories, what we call the light onboarding or premium onboarding. The software, as you saw in the demo, is really easy to use. you might just need just a little direction. So that's the light onboarding. There's a couple kind of technical things we help with on the light onboarding, which is helping tie your DNS or your sending domain back to the software. That helps with deliverability. And then from there, it's helping you migrate your list. And then we do some training on how to build automation and campaigns, how to set up your segments, how to use your data. So we just give a high level recorded training of the software itself on the live onboarding. We also do that with the premium onboarding. The premium onboarding kind of moves you into the next level to work with Switchback, or to have that type of email you're seeing with the Juniper example of the branded custom template. What you saw with the demo with Arthur, you can still create a very branded, easy to use template. But if you're looking for a very pixel perfect, if you would, template, and you know what you want, we can build it for you. That also gets you, the premium onboarding also gets you at least one Wi-Fi email built by the Switchback team, and then training on how to use everything we set up. So both options are easy to do once they're both set up. It's just a little bit more branded, and one Wi-Fi email coming with the premium onboarding. There is also a no onboarding. So you can go and choose the Wi-Fi solution and go through it. And there are videos on Campaign Monitor. And then if you get stuck, there is also an option of just a training, one-time training purchase once you onboard yourself. The ongoing managed email marketing with the Switchback team does require that premium onboarding. We do work in custom, whether it's code or our custom templates. But once you go premium, you do have the option to work with our team. That's a kind of a sales demo call to see what's a good fit, what we're going to recommend. We'll do a proposal and choose how we engage. Some clients do 2 emails a week, 1 email a week, 2 emails a month. We're very flexible on the service we offer. A lot of statewide clients even do 3 or 4 a year. And then you got a project manager with Switchback that will keep you kind of managed, if you would. We'll reach out, make sure you're sending emails, help with any kind of consulting you need. And then also just talk strategy and reporting as well. So a lot of options to get onboarded. The easiest thing is just go do it and try it on your own, and then come back and choose one of these. In one of our very first slides, the worst thing you could do is not do this. You know, if you've got the data, you're collecting email addresses, set up an automation, get that brand awareness, get that guest experience going out. If you have 100 emails, set up automation, keep the automation flowing, and then talk about, you know, when you should be sending a marketing email or a one-time email. But
Yeah, I'll just mention one other thing that Ryan does great with the template is it's not just like one email template, it's a template with many reusable sections. So you can, like I showed you when I was like choosing a template and I had like the my templates, you'll have like a master template that has like 10 sections, and then you just delete the ones you don't want to use and pick 3. So everything will fit in a wonderful brand, and you'll have different sections to choose from, like the 4 property grid, or the one thing with the 1 image on the side and things on the right, all with your kind of custom graphics and branding. And I would say, you know, if you're interested in using email marketing, play with the tool. And then if you're like, I want more help or I don't understand things, you know, the light onboarding will give you an hour call with Ryan's team, and they can walk you through your specific needs. So it's good to go and play around a little bit first before you dive, you know, head first in, just so you kind of have a grounding of what you're looking for. Finally, thanks for making it this long, an hour. If you're not a StayFi customer already and you're interested, you can go to stayfi.com. And if you use this code email50, you'll get 50% off your 3 months of our service. That 50% off is both the email marketing tool and our Wi-Fi data collection tool, right? So you'll get 50% off both services. And then once you have an account, you can, if you are interested in booking one of Ryan's extra services, you can go ahead and do that through the email marketing tool. I'm going to quickly just go through these questions and answer them.
Okay, perfect.
Anything
It was just
you want to add, Ryan?
You got it.
Yeah, I don't want to hold anyone longer. I would say someone asked about cell phone numbers. StayFi does have a text marketing tool, which we did not talk about in here. The thing about text marketing is we need an extra explicit opt-in from the guest to send texts. There's like a higher legal requirement for text marketing. So you cannot import other text other numbers into our tool. You can only use the numbers we've collected because we know that we've collected them in the right way. Someone asked about a tool called SendFox. Never heard of SendFox as an email marketing tool. We do have a Zapier integration, so you can take the data in StayFi and use Zapier to send it just about to any service. They probably have a Zapier integration, like 99% of things do. So if we don't have a direct integration, Zapier should accomplish what you want in sending the data to Google Sheets or anywhere you want it to go. Streamline integration we're working on right now should be done in the next 30 days or so. So that will come very soon. We touched upon open availability campaigns. Really look at your what's your typical booking window? Is it like 2 months? 2 months in advance, check. Where do I have availability? What homes do I need to push? Do I have owners that are, asking me, why haven't I, achieved XYZ results? You can use that information to figure out, which homes do I want to push, where I can show like, hey, we have a Labor Day weekend. Is it still available on these 3 properties? Like book them now, right? And build that urgency to book before other people grab them. A number of days after checkout. Someone's asking about like campaigns. Unfortunately, when we collect data through the Wi-Fi, we don't know or we don't append the data with the checkout date, something we're looking to do in the future. So for data collected from the PMS, we know the check-in and checkout date. And so you can build campaigns around that data. When it comes to Wi-Fi collected emails, we just recommend if you want to send something after checkout, pick a number of days that makes sense for what's typical. So if the typical length of stay is 5 days, maybe you send it 8 days because that will be 98% of guests will have checked out by then. Do you find high response rates with the occasional non-graphic basic email? Yes, plain text emails perform great because for most people that use Gmail, there's typically 2 folders, one a promotional folder and one just your standard inbox. Emails with many graphics tend to get pushed into the promotional folder, which have slightly lower open rates. If you send a plain text email, especially if you send it in the first person from yourself, you may achieve much higher open and response rates. So something that you would consider. How much do you charge for setting these up? We covered that. It's on this previous slide here. It's $249 for the light onboarding and then $999 for the premium, where you'll get the template and the automation, and both will include the hour training. Any metrics around vacation rentals versus suburban and urban markets? I don't have the stats in here, but there's definitely different challenges with those different types of markets. And we probably don't have time to talk about that right now, Ryan. So I'm just going to skip that question. Wix websites, Wix, you can get data from Wix into our email marketing tool. You just would have to do it manually. It's not super easy. When it comes to multiple lists, if we have multiple properties, I didn't talk about this, but actually when we send data into a list in our email marketing tool, whether it's Wi-Fi or property or from the PMS, we include the property name as a field. And we also include for StayFi a property group, which if you have multiple groups, then within Campaign Monitor, you can build segments. And so you can define a segment as having stayed at a certain property or at a certain property group. When you go to set up that automation, you can actually pick like a custom journey and then trigger the email when someone joins a segment. So you can have a different automation for a different Wi-Fi guest based on the property by using the segmentation tool. It's just more advanced. I just showed the generic send one email to everybody that joins the Wi-Fi, but you can definitely use segments to go as detailed as you want in terms of sending different content to different people. Someone asked about the pricing. So with StayFi for email marketing, it's $15 a month for the tool, up to 500 contacts. On the website, you'll see the pricing for when you have more than 500 contacts. The switchback services are in addition, and I showed what the prices were there. I see PMS and Wi-Fi guests. How do I import PMS guests? If you have one of the PMSs that are integrated, we will import PMS guest info automatically, both historically and any future guests. Obviously, there are 40 plus PMS systems, and we only integrate with 9, and we're adding 5 more this quarter. So we may just not have yours yet, unfortunately, but we will get there. And just let us know which one you want us to integrate with, and we will prioritize it as best as we can. And yes, we will send the recording to everybody. So hopefully, I think I touched on all the questions there. Anything else you want to touch on, Ryan, before we wrap up?
No, you answered all the questions. You got it.
Awesome. Sweet. Thank you, everybody. And yes, we do integrate with Hospitable Dustin. So if you have questions about that, you can email support@stayfi.com, or you can just email me. I know you have my email, so feel free to do that as well, and I'll definitely help you with that. Thanks again, everyone. I'll send this recording. And yeah, we'll also have links to book a demo when we send the recording out. So if you have more questions or want to get on a one-on-one call, all that information will be available there. Thank you, everybody.